Hi, my name's Denise Rod and I'm currently at Woolagi House with Carers NT. My husband and I came to Darwin to live 30 odd years ago, and it's only in recent times that my father has come up here to live with us. We lost Mum about 8 years ago, and Dad was, I think, a little bit tired of wandering around in a big house on his own down the coast in New South Wales, and came up here and loved the weather and decided he'd come back and live with us. So we've had Dad living with us now for just over 2 years. In September he had 2 strokes. Now those 2 strokes led to him having about 7 weeks in hospital, in Royal Darwin Hospital, and spending a lot of time since then with outpatient rehabilitation. Dad lost his speech, he lost the use of his right hand, although it didn't really affect his leg, but he did lose the use of his right hand. But all that's come back relatively well, and we just got him back on the straight and narrow, and in January this year he had another stroke, which put him right back. This 3rd stroke has affected him in ways different from the first 2 strokes. Admittedly, this time he lost his speech again, but he regained it very quickly. But there is a certain part, I think, of his memory that now is gone forever, and which is a bit sad because it's a bit frustrating for him when he forgets things all the time. The hospital staff were absolutely wonderful, and they said to me, "You do realise now that he's going to need a lot of care?" And I said, "Yes, well that's one of the things that does concern me because I work." And I said, "I'm to the stage where I don't want to be able to go to work and leave him at home on his own, because if anything happened to him, I don't think I'd ever forgive myself." And it was actually then that the hospital suggested I contact Carers NT. And therefore we've now ended up at Woolagi House, which I think is absolutely wonderful. Woolagi House is supported by Carers NT, and I bring Dad to Woolagi House on the days that I go to work. I find that the staff over here are just wonderful. They're so caring, and they really, really do look after the people that are here. And he enjoys the time he spends here, and I think it's good for him too, because he gets to interact with other people his own age, because unfortunately we don't have a lot of friends Dad's age, and it's very difficult. Around where I live there's really no people Dad's age, so this is good for him in that respect, because he gets to be with people his own age and can have a talk to them and have a snooze in a chair if he wants to. I guess I really didn't put myself in the capacity of being a carer at all for Dad. It was a case of Dad just living with us until he had the strokes. And then you started to realise that there are certain things that he can't do for himself anymore, and there are certain things he can't remember. And you're there now in a position as a carer where you have to look at his well-being, you have to look at everything he does with transactions at the bank, just his general well-being, I guess, and making sure that everything's all right. We both don't really have that many bad days with Dad. I think if things tend to get a little bit too much for Dad, he takes himself off to his own space. And he has his room set up very nicely with his big TV and his big armchair, and he's quite happy to go in there. He does do a lot of sleeping these days, which is different. One of the things we did have to do was we had to take his car keys off him, because he really wasn't capable of driving anymore. So we bought him a mobility scooter, which he loves, and every chance he gets he whips off to Casuarina in his mobility scooter. As a carer, I need the support of the people around me. For example, I suppose on a weekend, if I'm going to work on a weekend, I need to make sure that Jeff, my husband's home, so that someone's there with Dad. I think that's one of the biggest responsibilities these days, in the fact that we can't just drop everything and go somewhere. We need to make sure that something's in place for Dad. I went to Carers NT and everyone just bent over backwards to help me, which was really good, because, as I said, all this had just been thrown on me, and I'd never been in a situation like this before where I needed any care. If other people or other carers were in the same situation I was in, where you needed help with an elderly parent, I think I would have to highly recommend Carers NT as being the best place to go to get any help you needed.